Right before we jump into this video, if you'd like me to send you this free guide to capturing motion in low light situations, just look for this orange box over on FroKnowsPhoto.com, put your name, email address in it, hit send it. I'm gonna send you that guide for free. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is part 2 where I get my baseball photos critiqued by a professional baseball photographer by the name of Brad Mangan. Now, if you haven't checked out part 1, I do highly suggest that you click the link down below to check that one out first, because I give you more information on Brad and he goes through a ton of my baseball photos and gives me a real critique. Honestly, the first picture he said it sucks, so you know, that's how you know that critique's gonna go. But there's so much great information in there between the moments where he's looking at the images and he's just giving us the best nuggets of what it's like to be a baseball photographer and what you need to think about and look at. That can translate to any type of photography that you're doing, so I highly suggest you check out part 1. Now, part 2 is gonna go over my images from Wrigley Field. I got to shoot 2 games there, and Brad goes ahead and gives me his critique. So let's jump into part 2 right now. All right, Brad, thank you for joining me for round number 2, where we go through the Wrigley Field photos.
All right, Jared, thanks. I can't wait to see what you did in Chicago.
Yeah, well, the good news is you haven't seen them yet. I made sure that you didn't take a look, because I like doing critiques myself where you get my initial reaction, because I don't like when you have a chance to think. I don't like having a chance to think about someone's work. I want to just react and then talk.
Definitely. No, this is gonna be fun. No, I'm really looking forward to this.
All right.
So should we dive in?
Yeah, let's go into the Wrigley stuff.
Okay. I am pulling up the contact sheet in Photo Mechanic, and is this the proper order we should have them in?
Yep, this is proper order.
Okay. I'm gonna just do a quick one at a time big, and then I'll go back individually and we'll talk. I just want to scroll. I just want to do a quick scroll to see what we're going to be looking at. This is really fast. And then we'll look.
This is, I've never shot a game there, so this was my first time shooting.
And how many games did you shoot there?
2. We had a rain delay before the first game started, so there was no BP or anything.
Oh, I remember that game. You had a shit ton of rain.
Yeah, there was a massive tornado warning storm that came through.
Did you have fun?
I enjoy it. I enjoy sitting with the other photographers and having a discussion. This is a sequence, and I wanted to talk to you about images. It's going to be similar to what we did with the Bryce Harper one, but I know which I like, but we'll definitely discuss it.
Wrigley's a cool place.
It is. I mean, there's some interesting places to shoot from. I think I was able to go to this spot, which most other people said they weren't allowed in that spot. I did ask, so I was cool to go sit there.
That's awesome.
But next time I go there, I'll definitely need a stool. The CVS around the corner didn't have one of those stools that I used to sit on, the polka dotted ones. They didn't have one. And I use a thing called a walk stool. I just don't travel with it, but maybe I'll start throwing it in the bag if I have room.
Right,
it's a great thing to have.
Right.
And now you're back.
Okay, we're back. Okay, cool. So Wrigley, one thing I love that we had talked about a little with your stuff from Philly is, and let me preface this by saying I've shot at Wrigley a bazillions of times when they redid the dugouts and the photo positions after they won the World Series in 2016. They used to be the spots used to be more elevated, meaning you sat in chairs at ground level, which meant your cameras were at a higher level. After they won the World Series, they tore out the dugouts from 1914 and they redid everything. And now the photo positions are sunken down low. So you're at ground level, which you are here, which is a really cool thing. And so here you're in the inside spot. It's really dramatic. And when you go wide, which is great, you get the lights and everything. And I forget, is this a sequence or are we just looking at one?
No, this is just this one. I picked this one because it was Machado. I liked the ball right after he hit it.
The pitcher still in the motion and his name up on the board. So I like that because it showed us some game action.
Yeah, no, this is cool. And depending on if we were, I mean, Machado's great, and if we were doing something on him, we talked about this when you had your great wide Bryce Harper in Philly. Machado has a great follow through, and it's always fun to see the face, and it's always fun to see the ball, depending on how big the picture's going to run, depending if we're running this in an old school, cool, glossy magazine like Sports Illustrated double truck. It'd be fun to see several frames later where we see the extension, the follow through, and the ball's up in the top left corner of the picture. And you see, if he's hit a home run or a deep fly ball, and then you see the pitcher. That's another look. Sometimes, again, everyone gets all excited about the ball and the bat and the impact, which, again, used to be more of a bigger deal when you're shooting with a Nikon FM2 at 3.5 frames a second in, 1985. Now with these cameras, it's no big deal. So this is a cool picture. I want to see his face. He has a great follow through. He has a very great follow through. And he used to wear a C-flap covering his face, but this year, when I've seen him, I saw him in San Francisco, he's not wearing the C-flap, so we can see his face. And it's Manny. And until he got hurt recently, he's on his way to like an MVP type season.
Well, he the second game he was at 1,499 hits.
Mm-hmm.
And he also, so I was prepared for a specific type of shot with him.
Mm-hmm.
He went 0 for 5 that game. So he didn't. But I'll show you those. Well, when we get to those, I went in a different position than everybody else.
Stuff like this, just because the inning is over doesn't mean stop shooting pictures. Guys walking on and off the field in between innings, catchers. I love catchers. I love catchers when they take off their mask and they either carry it off the field or they put it on their head and walking back to the dugout. There's always a chance to make a portrait, and stuff like this. I love stuff like this. Editors love stuff like this. You're doing a story on a catcher. You can never go wrong with this, especially Wrigley has architecturally, their lights are great. The black and white is cool. Negative space is cool. You don't want to do stuff like this all the time, but
no, it gets boring.
I like stuff like this because you're looking for stuff like this. It's good to see. It's when someone like this is when a catcher like this is walking off the field, you shoot a lot of frames, or maybe the inning before you weren't shooting, you were talking to a photographer or you were texting or something, and you saw him walk off, and he's like, "Oh God, look, he's got a great smile," or he does this because ball players are habitual. They do the same thing. They're very superstitious. They do things over and over and over again. So always pay attention to what they do. It's like if you miss it that one inning, hey, you know what? There's 9 innings in a game. They're going to do it again the next half inning. You can't go wrong with stuff like this. So this is that same angle.
Yeah, this time I went with the ball in the middle. Just for me, it was more showing Wrigley than anything.
Right. Your first game at Wrigley, you're going to shoot this. You got to shoot this. I know you moved around later. And then it's like, this is what you got. When you go to a park and you've never been somewhere like Wrigley, besides shooting tight, vertical baseball cards, a guy swinging a bat, you got to shoot the wides. You got to show us what the park looks like, and then hopefully, what you did is move around. Yep. And, that's something that, you want to do. The only thing I would say, I know you love to, a picture like this, like I always say, this picture should be perfect because you're art directing it and you pride yourself on filling the frame perfectly. So when there's nothing on the bottom like that, and unless you're planning on the art director having all that room to run a giant fucking photograph by Jared Polin on the bottom, I would lower the horizon line, leave more room for the dramatic sky. Because right now, the bottom, especially because the way the light reflects on the dirt is wet. And when the dirt is wet, it's going to be reflective and it's going to be bright and hot. And so to me, there's just way too much wasted space on the bottom that doesn't add anything to the photograph. If you had lowered the horizon line and then you'd have much more of a big black dramatic sky, the picture would just be better that way. And so I would just, when you make pictures like this and you want it to be perfect in camera, you know, if we don't want to crop, then let's make that picture perfect. Right. And just really keep an eye out for that. Obviously we could crop it, you know, after the fact.
Well, it's very similar to the Bryce Harper home run, except with the Bryce Harper home run, I cut out in the viewfinder, composed it without the warning track there, just to keep the grass. So yeah, I can see. I'll work on that. I mean, not at this location. I need to try those. I didn't really think about that much, where I could do just the line just below the mound, because I got my lines pretty darn straight here. So so just to get basically the feet right below the feet with a little bit of grass, and just have that be the bottom portion.
Because all the black dramatic sky, especially when you have rain falling, and then it's drama, and then it's a better photograph, especially because our eyes always tend to go to the brightest spot. And then when you have bright stuff on the edge of the photograph, your eye falls off the photograph. So my eye just goes, whoa. And unless you just burn the living shit out of the bottom of the picture.
No, I got what you're saying. Because
it's just wet dirt goes bright at night because of the reflection of that. So that's just an anal thing. It's you know, obviously it's beautifully toned and it's nice and snappy and contrasty. And the light at Wrigley is very contrasty, especially when you notice there are no lights in the outfield.
There's no lights out there. And the color is weird. The color is definitely super on the greenish side. They're weird lights.
Every park you go to is different. And a lot of the parks have the LED lights. It's a whole different thing.
You can see the difference in the color light in the light. Oh yeah, because there's different color hues up there in the stand.
So yeah, I can see it here. Yeah, I mean, you get different mixtures of sodium vapor, this and that, and yeah, I can look at right here. I see some red. I see some red orange in the middle. I see some more neutral blue green on the left. Yeah, it's and then you know, some flicker, some don't. It's a whole thing.
Yep.
Like, this to me isn't as successful nearly as the catcher, especially for the simple fact that his eyes aren't lit. It's like when you shoot a 5 o'clock start and you got a front lit guy pitching. I shot a Giants game the other day, started at 4:15, and Logan Webb was pitching for the Giants. And there's great light, and he pitches literally until the sun stops hitting the mound at like 6:10. And Logan Webb is one of the great young pitchers of the game. And it's like, you know, I want to get great front lit where I can see his face. But like a lot of kids today, I call them kids, he wears his hat so damn low, you can never see his eyes. And you got to see the eyes. And if you can't see the eyes, it's just never going to be that great. And, you know, obviously it's a night game, you know, you can never see the eyes. And what's great about your portrait of the catcher walking off, because he's got his mask on the head, you can see his face, you can see the full expression. And, you know, here he's wearing a helmet. It's just, you know, obviously the way the helmet is, you can't see his eyes. You could do cute little dodging all you want. Yeah. Doesn't matter. And then there's too much negative space in the way the framing, you know, it's cool that you shot him walking off after he probably struck out, or the inning ended, whatever. And he was the on deck hitter and the guy in front of him made the last out of the inning, but it's not as successful as your other portrait.
Let me jump in here because I want to show you FroPak 3 in action on this photo, starting with Winnebago, which gives it a nice look, followed by Prestige Worldwide, Mentos, King Contrast, Eckert, and Fifth Element. But I want to show you something from FroPak 1. Check this out. We've got Skittles, and that's what Skittles looks like with one click. Now I'm going to do a quick little tweak to it, just pull out some of that yellow, and boom, it's basically good to go. So if you're looking to speed up your raw workflow or give yourself a great starting point on mobile or desktop, we created 15 custom Lightroom presets that you can check out right now at FroKnowsPhoto.com/FroPak3. While you're over there, you can play with the sliders to see the befores and the afters. And if you decide to pick them up right now, they are currently on sale. Or if you want to save even more and get that Skittles as part of FroPak 1, you can get the Triple Play Bundle, which has FroPak 1, 2, and 3. Now, let's get back to the critique.
Was Contreras taking a lead off of third base, and you are there shooting from the low spot?
I know it's still not a great shot. I just needed some different.
No, it's. I mean, you're in your spot, you're shooting, you're looking around, you're observing, you know, it's you know, you got the, you know, the iconic center field manual operated scoreboard in the background, and the low angle is always just dramatic, which we love at Wrigley. You're shooting, it's like a still life of him. What we need to get you in the habit of that is really hard is the mentally taxing activity of sitting on an infielder for hours at a time, waiting for a dive, and then making a diving picture, because I started to
work on that.
That's the hard thing.
I started to work on that more recently here in Philly, just to pick a guy and just stay there. But yeah. Well,
and then when you do that, the ball is there. I did that on Jonathan India was the rookie of the year, second baseman for the Reds last season, and he was in town for the Reds this weekend, and we had a 4:15 start. He's playing at second base. He's lit in the screaming low sun for about 7 innings on Saturday, and I sat on him for 7 innings, and not one ball was hit to him. And that's that's how it goes. And then he got hit by a pitch. So that was it for him. Obviously more dramatic when they take off the hat and the helmet, you can see the face. I still like the catching one the best, of the catcher for the study. But stuff like this, hey, if we're shooting for the Chicago Tribune, and you know the Cubs are awful. When you were there, had they lost 10 in a row, something like that? They were terrible. Well, they're terrible anyway. This is the type of picture, you know, this thing runs 4 columns vertical in front of the Chicago Tribune. There's room to drop in type, and you're here, you know, and the post-game press conference, he says, "We suck, man." And then they drop this in quotes, "We suck, man." You know, this is perfect for stuff like that. And you shoot stuff like this when you are there at the ballpark. And it's great. You have to always be shooting and looking for things, and the fact that you're not just shooting tight head to toe. Photographers out there, you know, we're looking at these pictures of Jared. Yeah, just because I might say, you know, this isn't something, you know, like in the old days, make an 11x14 print, mount it, put it in your portfolio, and show it to Steve Fine at Sports Illustrated, doesn't mean it's not a good picture. It's something that you shoot when you're out there on assignment. You are there at a baseball game where nothing happens for 3.5 hours, and your ass is getting numb because you're sitting on a stool and you need to get up and walk around or do something, but it's cold or it's rainy. You got to keep shooting. You got to amuse yourself. You got to do something, and you got to look around for subtle little things that help tell the story about your team or the other team, or what's going on here at Wrigley as the Cubs continue to suck. And a picture like this really helps. And look at this. Wow. Gee, that's cool. Those iconic lights at Wrigley. No, the black and white is cool.
That's why the composition, I chose that. I wanted to keep the lights in there.
Yeah. Okay, so at Wrigley Field, ladies and gentlemen, there are no photo positions behind the plate. There are very expensive seats that come with waiter service and access to one of 2 private clubs. One of them is named after either United Airlines or American. Yeah, American Airlines. I've been in that one. And so Jared obviously asked permission, did something special to get back there.
Well, you can just walk down and walk over. I cleared it beforehand. I'm like, am I able to go into these positions? And so then when I walked up before the game, or not this, I didn't go up before this game because it was raining, but I always talk to the ushers and I show them my pass and I say, I'll be coming down here in a few innings. And they're like, okay, no problem. Just, you know, you're fine. And so just stay out of the way. The problem was down there, they actually have the netting. There's the netting. I don't think I may be shooting through the netting for this one, but there's like a big ass, there's a step and then too much space. So I couldn't put my ass on the step. So I had to basically squat and shoot old school because I didn't have a stool this time.
Sure. That's a lot of parks. Like in San Francisco, you kneel on concrete behind them.
That's not fun.
And yeah, it's your knees start to hurt, but that's how it is. But, and you know, it's like you'll do it to be able to get access like
that's what I like about my walk stools. I don't know if you know that company, Walk Stool.
Oh yeah,
For anybody out there, they extend, but you can also leave it not extended, and it creates a point so that it creates like a tripod. You're 2 feet, and that creates a point, with your butt on it, and you can basically rock and rotate, and it keeps you low to the ground, so you don't have to kneel. It's pretty damn good.
But what Jared just talked about, like, and he says it a lot in a lot of his videos, you know, don't be an asshole. I don't give a shit what kind of credential you have. You are a guest in their ballpark. It is not a right to be there. It is a privilege to be there. And you talk to an usher, you be polite. They are working, they're doing a job. Jared is doing a job. And you be nice. You say, hey, you know, okay, I'm going to be in here. And obviously the big thing is their job is to take care of the fans. And you know, you be respectful of the fans because they pay a lot of money. More than likely they didn't pay, some corporation paid for those tickets. And you can, and usually when you go back there, you're just shooting the pictures. You're going to be there like an inning. You're not shooting the entire game back there. And you can get access to different spots. And this is a big deal when a big pitcher comes to town. Like Hideo Nomo was a rookie for the Dodgers. There's certain, you know, Randy Johnson's pitching today or something. It's like, okay, we need something special. So we want to go behind the plate. Unfortunately, on this night, it was some crappy lefty for the Cubs. You know, it wasn't Kerry Wood or something, but he's back there shooting. See, I like.
Oh, it's Machado also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put the 3 in here to see which position.
See, I mean, pitching, here's the thing. Pitching's hard. It's like, it's about mechanics and about athletic positions and where guys look good. You know, as a pitcher, you know, you shoot a bazillion frames a second in a guy's delivery, and there's all kinds of different points. Some look better than others. Ball out of hand is usually a pretty good form spot. Before this, when he's cocked back and his left hand is way down behind near his ass, depending on where it falls, if you can see it and you can see the grip near his ass, ball coming out of hand. This is a rough one depending on the guy because his head's down and you can't see much. His body is too compressed. You can see the ball, but it's kind of hard the way the background is. But see here how he opens up and we could see him and then we could see the ball. Each pitcher looks different in different spots. Like if you were here to do a story on this pitcher, it becomes a real study in the pitcher. And that's a whole other, I could bore the living shit out of you talking about pitchers and studying and where they, like when I would shoot Tim Lincecum, for instance, and certain guys who look better at different spots. Now, okay.
So this is for the 70 to 200. And then this, I broke out special. I broke out the 85-1-2 to shoot at 1-2. Yeah. Because I wanted to really isolate.
Now this, okay, well this, yeah, I could say a million things. Before, so. When you go, you know, when you go to a game or you go to a spot, you know, never just be satisfied with bringing one lens and one look. And even if you think, wow, you're shooting and you're shooting away and man, this looks great. And never be satisfied that you've just made the end all be all, you know, because you know what, in 30 seconds, the pitcher's going to do the exact same things. You're going to shoot it again and again and again. Always, you know, have other lenses, have other looks, you know, because then you do something like this, you know, which he's shooting Machado. As he said earlier, Manny was at 14.99, looking for his 1500th hit. Jared's trying to make a special picture of Manny Machado, but he also could have isolated on the pitcher. He's shooting, you know, with this different lens, which makes just an insanely better picture. Also, it's looser. You get the scoreboard. It's more of a sense of place than this. This picture doesn't say Wrigley Field. This picture says Wrigley Field, and it's just really cool. Now, I would just kill to see this picture during the daytime. I gave Jared a bunch of shit. I'm like, man, you need to do Wrigley.
Well, that was the next day, so I got a couple innings early when he was going.
I know, but we need to get you like this picture during the daytime. Oh my God, this is really nice. You know, in this picture, they're going to run a double truck in the magazine. They're going to drop in type, and they got to pay you extra for that. So that's a good thing. So you move it around, looking around for different angles. There's so many great angles to shoot at Wrigley, which is fun.
The pitcher's also in his windup. So.
Oh, we talked. Okay.
We talked about that in the last.
I want to mention this. Mention this in our last video about when you're shooting overalls, this is very basic. It sounds basic, but I didn't do this for years because I was stupid. And when I was a young, stupid photographer, when you shoot stadium overalls, a lot of times I would not treat it seriously like I should. And I would go up high and behind home plate or wherever to shoot overalls. And I would like shoot the picture in between pitches or, you know, just after a ground out to third or whatever. And there'd always be just nothing bullshit in between stuff going on the field. And so it wasn't, you know, it just looked awful. If you're gonna shoot a stadium overall, you know, wait for a pitch to be delivered and just, you know, blow through a whole sequence. So you just, you know, have the ball coming out of the hand midway between, you know, home and the mound and then the ball being hit. Just have the picture being relevant. So it's, you know, obvious that it was shot during the game. I know it sounds stupid, but trust me, a lot of people don't do it. And I know I sure didn't do it when I was young because I was not very smart. It's something to do. And a place like this, you know, when you've never been somewhere, you don't know what it looks like. It's always good. You know, you go out, I always go online and study, go onto Google, go onto the Getty website, look and see what other photographers have done. You know, what does this park look like from different angles? And that's a great help. But, you know, there's nothing like you yourself wandering around and seeing what the park looks like. Now he's down lower in the first deck. I tell you, I'm old school and I know it's like helps from keeping fans from getting just smoked in the face with line drives, but I hate the nettings have just ruined photography. You can't shoot overhead anymore. God, these damn wires in the pictures are just, it's such a bummer. It's eliminated so many pictures. Just being able to shoot overhead that you can't do anymore, because I don't give a shit what the picture, I see, you know, photographers just doing what they can and they shoot overhead and there's netting in the picture. I'm sorry, if you have netting in your picture sucks. It's just, nobody wants to see your picture from high home or wherever with, you know, out of focus netting running through your picture. It's garbage. It's not your fault. It's progress, Jared. Netting, and it just sucks.
Let me jump in here real quick and say, are you tired of your friends and family just telling you that your photos are fire emoji or thumbs up emoji, and you want some actual feedback from a real professional photographer? Then you need to check out FroKnowsPhoto.com/mentorship, because I offer two different types of mentorships. One is a recorded 15-minute rapid fire critique, and the other is a one-on-one 45-minute live Zoom call with me going over your images. Now, over at FroKnowsPhoto.com/mentorship, you can see full samples of both of these to decide which one might be the best one for you. But if you want actual feedback about your work, well, pick one of those to sign up for, and I can't wait to critique your work. Now, let's get back to the video.
Center field, it's so, God, look at, I mean, the light. There's no lights behind you. The only light are that big scoreboards. Oh my God.
It's much harder to shoot. I couldn't see what the pitcher was doing because I'm shooting at 11 millimeters. So I have no idea what the hell was going on.
Oh my God.
It looks like he's in, yeah, it looks like the batter's actually swinging possibly, but this was 11 millimeters. I'm glad I decided to take the 11 to 24 instead of just the 14 to 35, because with the 14 to 35, I wouldn't have gotten this wide. I was also told that the Getty photographers and they're not allowed out here. At least that's what they told me the next day when I showed them this photo. They're like, we're not allowed out there. I'm like, okay. I mean,
well, where were you? Where were you?
So I walked up to the bleachers. And I walked up, there's the scoreboard. So I'm to the edge of the scoreboard.
Right.
On the right here, the right-hand side of the scoreboard. And I walked up all the stairs and I'm not blocking anybody. And I make first contact with the, with ushers all the time. I say the things first instead of them waiting for them to say, what are you doing here? I say, hey, I'm going to grab a cool shot from out here. Cool. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
And I stood there, took a set and then moved.
Yeah. What happens, that's, you know, you did everything correctly. What happens is when you are the hometown media that's there all the time and you have to deal with the PR people who are there all the time and they lay out rules and you have to see them every day and deal with them every day. We don't have this in the Bay Area, as I kind of joked to you in our other video. It could be very relaxed out here. Some of these places, they just lay down the law, and if you are the Getty photographer, the AP photographer, the Tribune photographer, and you got 81 home games to cover, and you've been doing it forever, it's just, you can't press it because, it's, and it's not like, Sammy Sosa's not playing anymore. There's no home run record. You don't need a special spot for anything. And their editor doesn't need, some different features or whatever. And it's a different deal at a lot of these places, but it's really cool, if you're the out of town guy, or like, in the old days, shooting for Sports Illustrated, when Sports Illustrated was Sports Illustrated and it really meant something, and it was a weekly magazine that everyone saw, you could blow into town and get to do some just cool different things, and you didn't have to, you could, especially, let me tell you, you walk around the concourse and you see ushers and you have a Sports Illustrated credential. My God, they'll let you do anything. And you doing what you do, and you have a good personality, and you talk to people, people will be nice, unless you're at Yankee Stadium. That's a whole other thing. It's fun to try different stuff. Now it's not raining pregame. You have a night game. You're there early for batting practice.
Yep.
They're stretching before the game, and you're down the third baseline.
I'm on the field.
And you're close. I know.
Do you want to know what happened?
Sure. Tell me.
So this guy, so Manny Ortiz, the other photographer, we were walking down the warning track, because that's where we're allowed to stay. We know that the grass is off limits, as we talked about in the first one. And all I hear is, what shampoo do you wear? What conditioner do you use? And so they're asking me what conditioner I use. So I'm like, I use so-and-so. And he's like, come on out on the field. And I was like, I'm not allowed on the grass. They're going to yell at me. So I know when they say, when they tell you to come on the field, it's a totally different thing, but I was just playing it. And I was like, what do you, I'm not allowed on the grass. You sure? He's like, yeah, the players are saying. So I came over and we just had a conversation for a while. And then, being that I'm right there, it's okay to take some photos.
That's fun. Yeah. That's, obviously that's a fun, different thing that doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's a cool thing. When guys don't wear hats, it's a good thing. You can see their face. Details. Love the details. One thing that's fun to do, if you go back to Wrigley, if you ever go back, is as an out-of-town photographer, reach out to Matt Dirks and the team photographer and see if you could get there early and have him take you out to the Ivy. And you can you gotta get there early before batting practice. And it's best to do this before a night game, so it's in the afternoon and it's pretty out there, or before a day game when it's in the early morning, and just go out and shoot. You just walk the whole wall and shoot details. And so you're shooting with wide angle stuff, and it's really neat out there. It's very special. It's very historic. It's doing stuff like this to the next level. It's like, obviously everyone shoots details with a long lens of the brick stuff, but then going out and then doing other, because it's a special thing, because, it's not like, the outfield wall in Philly or any other place is like, padding and chain link fence and concrete, and special things like this. The scoreboard in center field is always something that's like a magnet. Now we got the shaft of light that hits home plate.
It was hit or miss for this game, but
Chamonix on the mound.
So you're gonna have a sequence on this. There's, I think, 3 or 4,
and a lot of empty seats.
Yeah, it was also 97 degrees.
Yeah, and the team was kind of bad. Yeah, it was hot. It was hot.
So this he hits a home run on. So you have to locate the ball, which is super tough on the second one.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess third one. It's there. I found it, and
there it is in the shadow.
And there's the other one up there to the left.
Yeah.
But it's not good when you have to look that hard.
Yeah.
But that's the home run ball right there.
Yeah. No, I see it. No, I saw it in all the frames. Yeah, see that? And the thing is, photographer did his or her job, but it's,
your bone.
But I've already seen the Bryce Harper one, and it's like this type of picture, it's really tough to make it work from a more outside kind of this spot than that more inside spot that looks down the line, just because of the perspective and the math, because you're looking at such a profile and both the batter and the pitcher are this big. And so it's a lateral movement instead of a foreground background thing. And it just doesn't fit as well unless it's it's hard. I'm doing a shitty job explaining it. I need to have a 2-up, and because trust me, we did this 800 million gazillion times with bonds and from different spots, and what makes it great. Or then you got to go behind the plate and do this thing. You need to have one guy way bigger than the other guy.
Well, keep going. Keep going.
And
we got you.
Am I making sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I'm telling you to keep going because I got that too.
Oh, okay, good.
Because he decided to hit 2 home runs in a row.
Awesome. Now I like this because we got that light.
Yeah, and then I get boned on the next shot. I included it. No, I didn't get boned on this shot. Never mind. Yeah, he ran through the sprint, the light right before. He ran through the light streak, and then that was it.
That's pretty. I mean, that's real pretty. Jesus Christ. I mean, I
think I was 28. Yeah, I was 28 to 70 F2 on there, probably shooting at F2.
I mean, that's sure pretty.
I also know that, prefacing this, I also know that these are just shots like of a coach, and I understand these are not the portfolio style.
No, batting practice is great. Batting practice becomes it's like a dance of guys moving around, guys bopping in and out of the cage. Certain guys, like years ago, guys used to take batting practice for every game. Before there were indoor cages, there used to be batting practice before every day game. And we get there early in the morning and we shoot batting practice for day games. It was amazing. And so you'd shoot backlit portraits of guys that were beautiful. Barry Bonds used to take batting practice on the field at Candlestick Park in 1993 and 94. He'd make these beautiful backlit portraits of Bonds and on chrome. And slowly that went away. Now there's never, ever, I mean, maybe an occasional optional BP for a day game. Never, because everyone has indoor cages and stuff. But batting practice, like Derek Jeter was famous for, Jeter would never take BP with a hat on. So Jeter be out there in Oakland, you go to a night game, so you get him at 5 o'clock light, no hat, screaming front lit, portraits, Jeter always posing, doing things. Batting practice can be the most amazing time. And it's funny how I'll go to a game to shoot batting practice and I'm the only photographer there. There's nobody there. And it's like, man, it's batting practice.
I take every opportunity to go early to BP because it's the only time you can get on the field and walk around.
And and you never know. And different teams have different rhythms and different vibes. And it's Vladimir Guerrero was great for BP. He never wore his hat. It's so fun. And there are certain guys that are always the leaners on the back, and it kind of sucks, especially because there's a lot of metal railing that's like here, that's a pain in the ass. You can't get guys away from it. And then guys love bat. The pictures of guys with bats, and there are the guys that are always posing and they're always looking. And batting practice is wonderful. You can look at pictures from the Polo Grounds where the Giants used to play in the teens and 20s of batting practice then, and it looks exactly like batting practice today, except for the cage looks like it was, made in someone's backyard. It's the same old cliche, go early, like you said, go early, and you can't make a picture if you're not there. Okay, we got Sean Mania. So this is the second night.
Yeah, this is
back there shooting Mania. He's fun to shoot because he's got the kind of sidearm 3/4 lefty delivery, hair flying, big feet. Yeah. And where's the ball in the air?
Well, it so happens that he didn't hit that ball right there.
Oh, okay.
It just so happened that I think I missed the actual one because I shot this and I got him doing that, and then I was like, I think I was focused somewhere else for the shot, and so that, yeah. I didn't get the home run on that one, but there was the next pitch that he did, and I didn't get him doing it, but got him celebrating and obviously running around, and this guy boning the shot.
Yeah, that's okay.
TV guy.
Let me jump in here real quick and let you know that this video is brought to you by Squarespace. If you're looking to build your very own online portfolio, use what I've been using for my personal website for more than 10 years.
10 years!
The reason I use Squarespace is it's simple, easy, affordable, and you don't need to know coding. And honestly, you can have galleries up in about 5 minutes or less and out into the world. To get your 14-day free trial, head on over to squarespace.com/FroKnowsPhoto. And if you decide that it's for you, use the code FroKnowsPhoto at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Now, let's get back to the video.
That's a neat spot back there.
Yeah, I mean, I think throwing the 85-1.2 back on it again gives you such a cool look.
Oh yeah, it does.
Nice compression and
well, and also, you know, it includes the scoreboard.
Yep.
If you are gonna shoot at Wrigley Field and go back there, you know, don't shoot pictures like this because it just defeats the purpose. You might as well, you know, you could be anywhere. It's the whole purpose is the sense of place, sense of time, sense of history. We're at Wrigley Field, and it's like, but even wider. I mean, I want to move the whole thing to the left. The compositionally, he's a right-handed hitter. The umpire, everything is going this way. I want to see the whole score. I want to see
justify right.
When you do this stuff, it's like, think of it as a remote camera that you're going to set up 5 hours for the first. You can get there early and you're going to claim a spot before the Getty photographer, the AP photographer, the trimming photographer. And so you get there a million hours early and you're going to claim your spot and you're going to clamp it down and you're going to set up the perfect painting, whatever. Well, you're not going to make a painting by cutting off the scoreboard. You're going to make this, frame this up, and you want a picture of a right-handed hitter, and everything, the umpire, the angle, everything is going from right to left. Everything is going that way. And we want to see this tableau, this beautiful horizontal tableau. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing to the right of the catcher and the umpire that will do anything for this photograph. Zero. But everything, you got the right lens, you got the right everything. Let's make this a perfect photograph because you are in charge.
Yep.
And that is like that framing. Oh, this is from that inside first spot.
Yep.
It's cool when you're right by the players and you could do something. Here's my friend Nuccio D'Annunzio, legend in Chicago, shot for the Tribune for about 127 years. Now he freelances for Getty. Nuccio shot like a bazillion Olympics and Super Bowls and the Michael Jordan Bulls and everything in Chicago. This is what it's like when you're on deadline, folks, and you're outside third base. And it's not raining. I like this in black and white. You have it in color too, but I'm old, so I like it black and white. This is what it's like.
Yeah, I was leaving, so I was saying bye to Manny because I had enough by the 6th inning of the second game, and which is about normal for me, 7th inning, and and I saw this, I was like, oh shit, there's more room down here, and we've got the photographers, so I like the photojournalistic aspect of the behind the scenes to capture the people at work.
Right.
And I think this basically wraps up. Oh yeah, and that takes us back to the beginning of my Wrigley.
Awesome. See, there's some really cool stuff there. The stuff that I would love to see that you don't have because it's not as fun and you're not a geek like I am is some of the exterior stuff.
Yeah.
Wrigley is so iconic from the outside, especially for a night game when the sun's out. When you get that light, it's like, oh my God, and the people, and it's such a cool place to go. With the fact that you got to go and you saw it, and if you ever had the chance to go back, it's like anything. It's like you shot the concert the other night and you talked about you weren't ready for
a jump
in the show. Well, if you were to shoot the show again,
I wouldn't miss it again.
you'd be ready for the jump. It's always hard. I don't care if you're shooting your kids' ballet recital, whatever. When you shoot something for the first time, you're not going to be perfect. It's possible. You're not going to get everything because when you go to a stadium for the first time, when you go to a high school football field for the first time, you're always learning, where to park, where's the exit, where's the bathroom that I can run to quick because I got to pee in the third quarter, where do I go? And because we're always learning on what to do and stuff like that. And but you're quick to meet people, figure things out, talk to people. This is where I can go, this is where I can't go, and that's super important. But what we need to get you to do is concentrate on an assignment and get your mindset so you're not drifting around, you're not leaving in the sixth inning, and you feel like you have a purpose.
Yeah.
And so I would love to get you like on assignments you feel like you are obligated to try and tell a story and come back with some pictures on something. Do you think you'd want to do something like that?
Yeah, I think an assignment would absolutely help give me focus for a game. Like I said, I from time to time I'll go into single shot, so I'm only shooting one frame. Or I've considered taking like a D1, a D1X, something from 2000,
sure,
and shooting super old school. Or as we said in the last one, I still have to get out a view camera and do that. But yeah, an assignment for modern day where I'm not reviewing, I'm focused on a assignment like you would receive, that would be fun.
Well, I think, and what about
Can't be Harper. He broke his fucking finger since the last time.
That's baseball, man. That's baseball. It sucks. Ugh. It's such a bummer. Oh man. Okay, how about, I have an idea about, what about you going to the Mets, going to Citi Field at the Mets? Where would you like to go?
Well, I have to do that. It's just easy for me to stay local 15 minutes from here, but
there's nothing at the Phillies, dude.
I have to go up to New York, so yeah. I just have
you
to
gotta
get
work
out of my
for
own
this.
way.
You gotta work for this.
I have to get out of my own way and go do it.
You do. I'm not sending you Yankee Stadium. That would be bad.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the deal. I'm sending you to Citi Field in New York, in Flushing, where my friend Mark Levine has been the Mets team photographer for about 35 years. I'll send you his contact info because you'll want to reach out to him. He might be the sweetest, nicest team photographer in all of baseball. Everyone absolutely loves Mark Levine. He's the best. Citi Field is a great place to work because they have inside and outside spots. There's lots of room. The Mets are crazy, fun, shockingly good team this year. They have a really good thing going on. They're exciting. Pete Alonso is their big star. He's just hitting the crap out of the ball, a lot of home runs, a lot of RBIs. Buck Showalter, the old guy manager, back again, who is just revived that team. The team believes in Buck. They're playing really well for him. Ideally, it would be great if you could shoot 2 games, because it's impossible to do it in one. I don't care if you go twice or if you stay for a back-to-back or whatever's the easiest. I know that's a couple hours away from you.
Yeah.
Because you got to shoot from more than one spot, and you can move around, but one game's too little. And it'd be good if you could do a day game and a night game, because here's the thing. We're going to treat this like it's a magazine story, and we want the pictures to look different. It's just like if I was sending you to do a shoot for Old People magazine, you would have to have your subject, change clothes multiple times to make it look like you were there for a week. I want the Mets, I want the pictures to look a little different. I want you to shoot from different spots. And we're doing a story on the Mets. The Mets being good. This is a story on the first place Mets. We need pictures of the Mets doing good things, emphasizing Pete Alonso and Buck Showalter.
Okay.
The writer hasn't written the story yet, but this is how it works. The writer hasn't written the story yet. The story is the Mets are great. We're nearing the All-Star break. Pete Alonso is tearing it up. Buck Showalter is, he's the Messiah this year. They are playing for Buck. They are not half-assing it. It's not the same old shitty Mets. It's the let's fucking go Mets, and we need to see the Mets doing good things. We need to see guys making diving plays in the infield. We need to see stuff, and it's like what you've done. We need to see wide stuff. We need to see sense of place, city field, wide stuff. We need to see tight stuff. We need to see details. We need to see fans. I want you to cover the Mets, Citi Field, winning. We need a cover. We need an opener. We need other stuff. I think it'd be fun.
All right.
I think it'd be fun.
I got it. I see it in my head. So things to keep in mind for me.
And everything, everything is on the table. The pregame, the portraits, the dugout stuff.
Hey, Buck.
Everything.
Hey, Buck. Hey, I need to get a picture. Can you give me a minute?
Exactly. It's all, Mr. Met, aside from the fanatic, is he the best mascot in baseball?
He sucks. We hate New York. But when you're working, it's a different story. You're there to tell.
Perfect for you. This is perfect for you.
I'll look at the schedule, see what we got.
Yeah. I think it'll be fun. You'll have fun with it. It's a good place to work. It's a great place to work. A lot of stuff going on there.
All right, good. All right. I mean, it's good getting critiques. So there's lots of information in there for me to chew on, and I know I'm not far off on most of it, and it's just a matter of some of those tweaks, and then having someone actually point it out, which is what you've done, and then me going out and doing it again and just building off the pieces of the puzzle.
Well, going out there and just saying, okay, it's like, whoever the Mets playing, you don't care about, and it's just, concentrating and it's when the other team's up, you don't care about them, obviously. So it's like, okay, we're going to make pictures of the infield. The Mets.
I don't even know where Pete Alonso plays.
He plays first base.
Okay. So, all right.
But the Mets got a crazy, great little shortstop with blue hair. So who makes great diving plays, and the Mets have some good pitching. It's a whole. They got a good thing going on there.
All right.
And they play some crazy dramatic games, and it's baseball. It's luck. You could go there and you could see some great stuff. You could see a lot of boring nothing. You never know. And that's part of it. You could go there, you could come back. They could lose. The pictures could be bad, and then my boss would come to me and say, "Well, it doesn't matter. They killed the story." Because that happens sometimes.
Gotcha. All right. Let me wrap it and thank you.
Right.
Thank you again for taking the time to critique both of the games and give me an assignment.
All right, Jared. Well, thanks for letting me do this. This was super fun. I love looking at your stuff. I can't wait to see more.
All right, now I got to actually go do something.
There you go.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
So I know that was another long critique, but this is how a real critique works. You find a professional photographer who's an expert at something, and you show them your work, and you listen to their feedback. Now, that doesn't mean that they're always right, and it doesn't mean that they're wrong or you're doing something right or wrong. It's just to get someone else's eyes on your images, and you can try to learn from that. You could say, well, I don't agree with this, or I agree with this, but there's always some valid points and some nuggets of information that you can take from it. So in part 1, there was a ton of information you could glean from that. So again, if you haven't seen that, go back and watch part 1. And part 2 was cool because it was more of the photo story, kind of an assignment of me going to a different ballpark and taking a different mental approach to photographing it. Will I be able to take his challenge of going to New York City? I honestly don't want to go to New York. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get to Met Stadium, but we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll end up going out to San Francisco to see Brad and shoot with him and vlog that entire process. So once again, if you want me to be your mentor, critique your work, go to FroKnowsPhoto.com/mentorship. There's 2 different options over there. One is the 15-minute recorded rapid fire critique, and the other is a one-on-one 45-minute Zoom call that's live with me. So those are those 2 options. I really appreciate you guys sticking around and watching this. If you got this far, #GotThisFar. Leave that down below. And thank you very much for watching. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.